Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Today is Friday, and last night was a full moon. So today's yoga practice will be centered around that. It will also be centered around taking care of your spine, our life force within us. So let's start in an upright seated position. Your legs can be crossed in whichever way feels most comfortable to you. Good. And we're going to take Ganesha Mudra. So this mudra is a hand positioning that invites removing of obstacles, relieving you of all types of obstruction in your life, and helping you regain positivity and courage during hard times. The way to do it is to just go ahead and put one hand on top, one hand on bottom, and interlace or interlock your fingers. So make sure your fingers are closed, and then you're gonna lock them up like so. In addition, we're gonna be pulling with our inhales and then gently releasing tension with your exhales. Good. The pulling and the releasing is actually also beneficial to your heart muscles and is good for training the resistance in the areas of the body that are engaged. All right, so get in your ready position. Good. And with your next inhale, you're gonna pull as if you're trying to pull your hands apart. Don't let them. And exhale, gently release the tension. Again, inhale, pull, strong arms. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, pull. Exhale, release. Now, important to stay balanced, so we're going to go ahead, excuse me, and do the other side as well. So you're going to flip your hand. So now your opposite hand is on top, and the one that was on top is now on bottom. And again, you're going to kind of cradle your fingertips. A nice long spine. With your next inhale, pull. Exhale, release. Inhale, pull. Exhale, release. One more time, pull and release. Good. Now go ahead and just bring your hands to your knees. Taking a deep breath in and an open mouth, exhale. Good. All right, so before moving on to the next part of class, I wanted to talk to you about the importance of the health of your spine. So the spine is the center of your life force within your physical body. It sends and receives messages to the rest of the body, and it's also responsible for motor output and sensory input. So if we have a injury to the spine at any level, depending on the level, you're going to see some effects, possibly long term for the rest of your life, that are going to change your physical body and your functioning and your abilities. So important to take care of that powerhouse right there. Now, if you have any issues with your back, this can be a great pain. For example, if a nerve root gets trapped, this can be a result of prolonged sitting or standing with poor posture, or even performing an activity with bad form. And I don't know if you personally have specific issues. You've been diagnosed with maybe a slipped disc, herniation, anything that you're going to need specific treatment and specific exercises for. You want to first and foremost listen to your doctor or your physical therapist and follow those exercises before you do this exercise. Now, this workout is meant just to improve posture, decrease back pain for general back pain. This is not meant to treat specific conditions, okay? So just know that. And that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So you're gonna find and stay in your upright seated position. Legs are crossed. Arms are down at your sides. Good. And with your right arm first, we're gonna inhale, reach up and over, going for a side body stretch. Inhale as you're here, and then exhale as you return to center. Good. Now we're reaching for the other side. Left arm up and over as you inhale, and back to center with your exhale. So this side bending helps open up the facets between your vertebral discs, help open and loosen things up in your spine. Let's do it again. Reach up and over with your inhale, back to center, exhale. Switch sides, reach and return. Let's do a few more. Reach and return. Good. Reach and return. Good. Let's do it again. See if you can go a little bit further. Maybe now you're bringing your elbow to touch the ground, going for a little bit deeper of a stretch, and then returning back to center. Try the same thing on the other side. Maybe palm, forearm, or even elbow reaches for the ground. And coming back to center. Now don't compromise your spine here. Make sure your chest is pointed forward or up towards the ceiling, not down towards the ground. Let's do one more time on each side with good form. Maybe even look up if you can. Back to center. Good. And last time. And back to center. Nice. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is find a tabletop position on your hands and on your knees. Good. And we're going to keep the knees wide, almost to the width of your mat. Good. Now you're going to send your hips back towards your heels, stretching out your low back, reaching your arms, stretching. Good. If you can, bring your forehead down to the mat here in child's pose and take 5 slow and deep breaths. And slowly rise back to your tabletop. Okay. Now let's make this a little more active. Inhale, send your hips back. Exhale, rise to tabletop. Inhale, send your hips back. Exhale, tabletop. Good. Keep the same pattern 3 more times. One more time, send your hips back, and we'll hold here for another 5 breaths in child's pose. Good. When you're done, return back to your tabletop position. Okay, another great exercise and stretch for your back is doing cat and cow because it incorporates both flexion, which is rounding your spine, and then extension, which is arching your back. All right, so important to do this with the breath. With your inhale, you're going to look up, arch the back, lift your tailbone up towards the sky. And as you exhale, tuck your chin, round your spine, and tuck your tailbone in. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, tuck the chin. Inhale, lift up. And round down. Lift up. And round down. Inhale, lift, arching. And exhale, rounding. Good. Let's come back to neutral spine. All right, we're gonna pay attention to the wrists for just a moment here. So if you feel like you're putting a lot of pressure into your wrists, you wanna try and stretch them out by flipping your hands up and over. So your palms now face up towards your body. You can do one at a time. If it feels okay, you could even rock a little bit forward and back, but don't put too much pressure here. Keep it light. And then you'll go ahead and do the other hand. And I just want to remind you, if you're constantly feeling like you're putting a lot of pressure into your wrists during your yoga practice, try and be more mindful of distributing your weight out through your fingers versus just the bottom of your palm here. So you have a whole rest of your hand. You want to use the base of the carpals and your carpals. So all 5 fingers, you want to pretend like you're pressing or even pulling into your mat when you're gripping your hands against the mat, and also keep your fingers spread wide. That'll also help distribute the weight. So we'll do 5 more cat and cows. Remember to use the breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. Really squeeze the belly muscles tight with your exhale. And when you're done, you're going to find your neutral spine. And then from neutral spine, you're going to tuck your toes, lift your hips, and find downward facing dog. Good. Set yourself up for a nice down dog. Again, spreading your fingers wide, distributing the weight through your fingertips. And let's pedal out the feet, bending right knee and then bending left, one at a time. Gives a nice stretch to the back of the hamstrings, the calves, including the low back as well. Good. We're going to come to a still down dog. Good. With your inhales, you're going to lift your heels up towards the ceiling. With your exhales, lower your heels down towards the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. Keep going. Anytime you need a break, you can come back to your tabletop or find child's pose. 5 more. Each time you exhale and bring your heels down, see if you can bring them a little closer to your mat. When you're done, we're going to bring our feet next to one another. Lift your right leg up. Good. And now you're going to bring your right knee towards your right wrist and drop it to your mat. Good. So your knee is at the mat. Now we're turning that right foot inward. So your heel is close to your left pelvic bone. We're setting up for pigeon here. So with proper pigeon, your hips are square with the mat. So if we had headlamps or headlights on our hips, they'd be pointing down towards the ground. Now, if for any reason you have knee issues or knee pain, it's always acceptable to find a modification by dropping onto your side like so and still folding over that leg. But if you don't have any issues with the knees, go ahead and find proper pigeon. Squaring the hips down, extending your left leg long, untucking your back toes. And whatever feels best on your back here, I want you to do that. Some folks like to lean forward and bring their forehead down to rest on their hands or on the ground. Some folks like to come up. And wherever you are, we're here for 10 deep breaths. Using our exhales to release and let go. Letting go of tension and any negative thoughts that don't serve you any longer. Use your breath to let it go. Three more deep breaths. Good. Now we're going to switch up to the other side. So we're going to tuck our back toes under upper left foot. Good. And then slowly bend at the knee. You can return to your table or straight to down dog. Okay. And now we're going to bring our feet next to each other once again. Coming to a still down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, bring your left knee towards your left wrist. Again, find your perfect pigeon where your heel is close to your right pelvic bone. Good. And then lower yourself down, keeping that right leg nice and straight. Top of the foot is against the ground. Good. Again, if you prefer, you can get down low or you can stay up here. And again, 10 deep breaths, focusing on the exhalation, releasing negative energy, releasing tension. And just notice how your body starts to change over the next 10 breaths. Maybe deepen your stretch a little bit more. Last 3. Good. Okay, now that we're done, we're going to tuck our back toes. Find your tabletop and last downward dog. Good. Let's lift and lower the heels a few more times. Checking if maybe we've increased our flexibility and extensibility of our muscles. Maybe your heels are a little bit closer to touching your mat. Good. Dropping your knees, find your tabletop. Good. And if your heels weren't touching your mat yet, that's totally fine. It's not that you are inflexible. It's that we didn't spend enough time practicing this position. So for some folks, all it takes is 10 breaths. For others, it may take 100 breaths to get there. So the magic equation is time under tension. So the more time you spend under tension, the more your muscles will either get flexible or stronger, depending on what you're working on, okay? All right, so if that's a goal for you to being able to touch your heels to your mat, just spend more time doing that and you will get there, I promise. All right, let's do a few more poses. Now we're going to sit down. And we're gonna do a nice seated twist. So first we're gonna extend our legs wide, actually. Wonderful. As wide as you can. Good. And then same thing how we began class with our side reach over and stretch. We're gonna do that same thing here. So your hand will be behind your leg. Right hand is down, left arm lifts up and over. Inhale. Back to center, exhale. Now we're gonna switch sides. Inhale, reach the right arm up and over. Exhale to center. If you want, you can have it a goal to touch your toes. Reaching up, reaching for your toes. Good, back to center. Inhale up and over. Exhale to center. Good. Now remember, each time under tension, right? Each time you're gonna stretch a little bit further. According to this rule. Good, keep it up. And again. Good, one more time on each side. Awesome work. Now we're gonna bring your hands in front of you, flat to the mat. And you're gonna walk your hands forward as far as you can until you find your edge. Now your edge is that happy medium, that line that forms when you meet comfort and discomfort. So right in that little zone in between of that comfortable, slightly uncomfortable place, right? That's where you wanna be. So find your edge. Maybe you wanna rock a little bit forward and back to deepen the stretch. And see if you can hold for 10 deep breaths. Now holding here is easy if you're not paying attention to your back. But once you do start to pay attention to your back, I want you to keep your spine nice and neutral and long. So don't just round your back and round forward. Maybe you need to be a little more upright, but try and keep your back nice and neutral. And then slowly walk your hands back to center. Woo. So yes, that may have stretched your back. Also stretch our inner thighs and our legs here. All right, let's bring our legs in, knees together. Good. Give them a nice squeeze. Good. Extend your left leg long and then cross your right leg over your left. Good. We're gonna take our right hand and bring it behind us. You're gonna take your left elbow or your left forearm and press it against the top of your thigh or your knee. So this is helping assist you in your twist. With your inhales, lengthen your spine always. With your exhales, twist right. Looking behind you over the right shoulder, staying here for 5 breaths. Returning back to center, switching out the legs, extending right leg, taking your left, bending it up and over, left hand behind, right elbow to your thigh. Again, inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting, looking over left shoulder. 5 breaths here. Good. Returning back to center. Good. All right. So one more position we're going to find. So back to your tabletop. And then from table, you're going to gently, with control, bring your belly down to the ground. Good. We're setting up for Sphinx or Cobra with your elbows directly under your shoulders. Good. This is more of a passive movement, but we're still getting a nice stretch in the muscles that are in front of your spine. Okay. Listen to your back. If for any reason this hurts, maybe you have a pinched nerve and this aggravates it, you want to ease up and perhaps try and find a position that's more neutral in the spine by bringing your forehead to the mat. If this feels okay in your back, or if you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can prop yourself up onto your hands and go into a deeper extension. Three more deep breaths here. Once you're done, tuck your toes, find your neutral spine in your tabletop position. Now we're going to circle the hips a few times in each direction. It's a good way just to stretch out the back a little bit. Good. All right, guys, from here, you're going to make your way onto your backs. Good. First thing we're going to do is we're going to hug our knees. Bring them to your chest. If you'd like, you can gently rock side to side. Again, this helps massage the lower back muscles. Good. Now release your feet down to the mat. All right, I'm going to give you 2 options for this next position. You can either find a bridge by just lifting your hips up and holding, or if you want a little more stretch for your back and your shoulders, you're going to do a reverse tabletop by staying up on your hands and then lifting your hips. All right, so we're going to do 10 lifts and lowers. With your inhale, lift up. With your exhale, lower down. Again, decide if you want to stay down or come up with me. Let's begin. Really dig your heels as you lift your hips. Last two. Last one. Nice work. All right, now you are going to lay all the way down. Bring your knees to your chest and to your arms out to the side. We're going for another spinal twist since this is so good for the back. You're going to drop your knees to the right, twisting your lower half. But your upper half keeps your shoulders flat against the ground. And for a little extra stretch in your cervical region, you're going to turn your head to the left. Again, stay here. Focus on your breath. Lengthening your exhales, releasing any tension. When you're ready, you'll come back to center and switch over, dropping knees to your left, making sure your hips are stacked, your knees are stacked. Maybe even extending the top leg straight for even a deeper stretch. And then remembering keeping your shoulders flat against the ground. An option again to turn your head to the right. Feel free to close your eyes, nothing left to see, just feel and breathe. Taking one more breath in, and a breath out. Coming back to center. All right, both knees are at your chest. Now we're going to grab a hold of your right shin. Good, and extend your left leg long. You can hover it, or you can let it rest completely on the ground. And you're going to pull your right knee towards your right shoulder. Good. Stay here for a couple of deep breaths. Maybe also start to point and flex your toes. Give small circles to your ankles. Good. And when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and switch. Extending right leg straight. Bringing your left knee towards your left shoulder. See if you can slow down and deepen your breathing. Taking another breath in. And exhale out, releasing your left leg long. Finding your Shavasana, your final resting position. Let your feet fall out to the side. Your arms out to the side, palms are facing up. Let your shoulders relax down into the mat. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Letting your body enjoy the rewards of this practice by resting and receiving its gift. Feel free to close your eyes. We'll be here for about a minute or two. Any thoughts that come into your mind that are unwanted, go ahead and let them go. Let them be and release them. The full moon is a sign for us that the energy is the most present, the highest. Up until the full moon, we are adding on, right? Everything is waxing. The moon is waxing. It's gaining. It's increasing. And that is our time in that half of the month to focus on the positives, to take in, to receive. After the full moon, the moon starts to wane and it starts to get smaller. And that's the time in the month for us to practice letting go of what's not needed. First half is receiving, second half is releasing. So let go of any negative thoughts you've been holding on to, fear, anxiety, anger, or resentment towards others or even yourself. Let that go. Use your exhales to release it. And use your inhales to focus on what you want to keep for this half of the month. Focusing on positive things like hope, courage, compassion, and forgiveness. Perhaps even creating healthy boundaries with others. Focus on those positive thoughts with your inhales. And release the rest with your exhales. Remove any obstacles in your way. Clear the path. I know it's easy to feel upset at the world, at people sometimes, but the energy that you put out is the same energy that you're going to receive. What do you want for yourself? Let's focus on that positivity. Taking a breath in, filled with goodness, and releasing the rest. Here's the mantra for removing of obstacles. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirviganam Guru me deva sarvakayeshu sarvada. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Start to deepen your breath. Invite small movements to your fingers and into your toes. Waking up from your Shavasana, possibly turning your head from side to side. And then when you're ready, reach your arms above for a good morning stretch. You're going to bend your knees, turn onto your favorite side, coming into fetal position. Staying here grounded. Think about one thing you're looking forward to after class today. Keep that in your mind. And as you do so, make your way up to a seated position. Finishing our class how we began. Dropping your arms to your sides. Right arm first, reach up and over for a side body stretch. Back to center with your exhale. Left arm, reach over and stretch. Exhale, return. Let's do one more on each side. Good. Checking how your spine feels. Good. Staying here in an upright position. We're going to find our Ganesha Mudra. Bringing one hand on top, one hand under, and then interlacing our fingers together, creating a nice firm grip. With your inhales, you're going to pull. Exhales to release. Inhale, pull. Exhale, release. One more time, pull. And release. Good. Now we're going to switch over. Opposite hand on top, opposite hand on the bottom, interlacing the fingers. Removing the obstacles. Inhale. And exhale. Increasing courage and positivity. Inhale. And exhale. Bringing energy to your heart center. Inhale. And exhale. Releasing your mudra, bringing your arms down to your sides. Last inhale, reach both arms up towards the sky. And find Namaste hands down at your chest. Samastitihi. Take a moment to observe how you feel now compared to the start of class. And let's all finish together with a deep breath in. And an open mouth exhale. May this sun shine upon you, all the love surround you, and the light within you guide your way. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. Namaste.